Hola guys, and welcome back to my GCT Spanish YouTube channel. And as I was saying from last video, that I'll be also offering maths soon, I hope, and we'll be offering GCSE French at some point, but not right now. So let's start with the theme of la comida, which, if you're in secondary school and in the process of learning Spanish, you should know what it means by now, which means it means food. So we're going to start by doing the do now activity of these verbs beber and comer, which are simple. So you can pause this video if you want to do this activity right now, and then we'll go over to the answers. So we'll go over to the answers now for beber and comer. So the structure is this. You make the ER, bebo. The first one is bebo, and go on. Bebes, bebe. Sorry for that word tricky. Bebemos and beben. So you can also use the you plural, you all, which is bebes, but then you can use the you plural form. So we're gonna move on to comer, the other one, which is kind of similar, but you get it by now. So como comes. Sorry, my handwriting's a bit rushed. Comes, come, comemos, and comen. I think I'm right about that. So comes, como comes, comemos. So yeah, that's gonna be for the do now activity. The answers. I hope you've got them all correct by now. So we're gonna move on. I'm going to wait for you to copy down these answers if you haven't done so, and pause the video if you want to have that answers. So we're gonna now move on to the actual theme, food. That's the whole thing we're gonna be talking about today. We're gonna talk about irregular verbs as well, which can be also used for food. Then we're gonna move on to a bit of the type of food in Spanish, and then we're gonna try to structure a sentence after that. So, for the irregular verbs poder and tener, which poder is to can and tener is to have. So we're gonna try conjugating the verb poder, which is to can. So we've got puedo, puedes, puede, puede. We've got podemos, and you can use you plural as well, which is podes, and then pode, which is they can. And for tener is this tengo. Just to note that this is from I form to they form. Tengo, tienes, tiene, and then we've got tenemos, tenemos, and we've got tienen. So why they're irregular is because they're kind of harder than the regular verbs. The regular verbs they are easy, but when you come to the irregular verbs, at some point you'll get used to them. I hope so. So these are just the regular verbs, which I hope you've copied them down by now. And we're gonna start on with food. So let me just rub the irregular verbs so we've got more space to write about food. So if you originally want to go to Spain, or you want to travel to Spain or something like that, you can use these type of foods, which are, they say basically like eat for breakfast, for dinner, for lunch, whatever you want to use. So we got un huevo, which is an egg, or un you can also make it as a plural as well. Un huevo, un bocadillo, which is a sandwich. We got the most simple of one of these foods and drinks is café. You just need to add the accent on the E and just make it coffee. It's really simple in Spanish. And then we got las verduras, fruits, verduras or frutas. Las verduras or frutas, you can say, fruits and vegetables. So we got un huevo, bocadillo, café, las verduras, frutas. We've also got el pescado, which means fish. Pescado. You should be familiar with all these terms that I'm writing on the board right now, especially if you're starting secondary school education and learning Spanish. The other food I can also recommend you saying in Spanish is saying la tortilla, la tortilla, which means like an oatmeal in Spanish in some provinces, I suppose. And let's suggest around 3 more foods in Spanish: carne, yogurt, and fruta. La carne, la yogurt. The don't in Spanish, I now made a mistake on this one. We removed the T in la yogurt, which means yogurt. They just try to make it fancy, I suppose. Like, not like the French group, you know. And then we got las uvas, which is grapes. Las uvas, which is grapes. It's really popular in this word, especially in New Year. If you're planning to go to Spain in the New Year and you're saying, oh my god, how do I say this word? It's las uvas grapes. Because technically on the New Year, every New Year in Spanish people bring grapes, las uvas. And you have to somehow you have to have 12 grapes in your mouth. Which is kind of, it's a good tradition for them. So just in case you don't forget that word, something like that. So I'm gonna recommend around 2 more foods and then we're gonna structure our sentences. We got patatas fritas. How much we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10. And then one more food is el pollo, which means chicken. So about la carne, which is meat, which means any type of meat, lamb, pork, chicken, as I wrote here. But you can say la carne de, and you add the meat like lamb or whatever you want to add after that. So as you see, we have recommended all these type of foods in Spanish, which are very much used, especially when you go to Spain. I'm gonna suggest one more food that we should do because the vocabulary of food is a bit long, as you see. So the last type, let's say los refrescos, which means fizzy drinks. So right for short, fizzy drinks. So these are all the foods for now. I know the list is long, but these are all the foods that you can write them down on your list or a piece of paper or whatever notebook you have at home. So now here comes the fun part where you structure your sentences. So we're gonna rub this out. I might forget all these terms. I hope I don't forget them. So when you go to a restaurant in Spain, or if you're talking specifically about food, I'm gonna speak to you instead of writing on the board. If you're typically going to Spain and you're saying, for example, let's say in English first, I want or can I have, which in Spanish is quiero or puedo tener. So if you go to Spain and say puedo tener las uvas, grapes, or puedo tener, let's say, un bocadillo, un huevo, or los refrescos, they would understand you. We're gonna make a sentence now, just so you get it in your head. So let's say, we're gonna start by saying, for breakfast, we have para desayuno, which they give me the verb desayunar. For breakfast, let's say, tengo, tomo, and have I take. Para desayuno, tengo tengo tres huevos con, con agua, with water. You can say as a simple sentence, or you can make it complex by saying, for lunch. Let's say for lunch. Para almuerzo tomo, let's say, un bocadillo con leche. No, not con leche. Con leche, let's say. With separate, which bocadillo, which is sandwich, and leche, which is milk, but I would count them as separate because you have them separate times. And so, this is for breakfast, this is for lunch, and let's say for dinner you're sitting with your family, and you're saying, for example, if you want to make yourself, like, they wouldn't really understand you, they would, but then you would say to them, para cenar, me gustaría, and then you have seafood, which is, seafood, come my seafood, which is los mariscos, which is seafood. I just wanted to say that if you ever plan to Spain, you can use this, which they should give you in secondary schools, I'm hoping. And yeah, this can technically help you for other things like the themes. The theme that we're doing now is food, and this really helps me out to, prepare my lesson. So for example, I'm gonna give you a sentence structure and an example for what you could say, what you want to have as a food. So for example, let's say during the week, entre semana or entre la semana, tomo un huevo o unos melones, or you could say los fines de semana, which is like the weekend, for lunch, almuerzo, and para almuerzo tengo el pescado, and yeah, I think that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I hope you structured your sentences correct. Bye.